Okay, let's get started. Now first I'm going to raise up the table. On the way up here, right off the bat, I loosen my up and down dial so I don't have to worry about it. And it's ready, set to go. And I also get my handle out here ready. I usually keep it off of here because it sticks out into the walkway. And the handles don't get bent or this doesn't catch your leg and it's always off. I modified, I have all the components. And the only thing that's off at the end of it is the retaining nut. I got that put away, and I put a little piece of hose over the end of the thread so they don't get damaged. Okay, the rest of it all works exactly the same. All right, come on up. Now we're in a mode of adjustment there. All right, cranking in and out. Okay, now we're going to move it forward so we know that we're somewhat near the end. Right there. And the first thing we do is we just double check and make sure that we weren't interrupted and we have all of that tight. Alright. Now sometimes on real big shafts where this sticks out quite a ways, I put a screw jack under the end here so that I can hold the down pressure as well. And sometimes I'm holding out there with the crane. These aren't real long shafts, so I'm not going to worry about it. Sometimes I put counterweight on this end of the table just to compensate. But when I got ease of turning like this, I know I'm not overdoing the ways of the machine. Alright. And our speed is doing good. Make sure our coolant's off for right now. Okay. Now what we do is we touch off here. And I'm going to bring you in close so you get to see it. Alright. We're going to touch off and we're going to make a flat. 0.472 in width right there. Okay. Before we get to the one where we got 4.172, as far as our scale dimension there, we're going to shoot and we're sighting down each side of our cutter to align this 7/16 cutter center line with our shaft so we can set 0 on our dial. Okay, I like that. I'm going to lock that. All the backlash is out of it. We set our 0 here in that direction. Alright. Now no matter what we do and where we go, when moving this thing in and out, I can come back, eyeball that, put it back on 0, and we're center of the part. Alright, now we need to go down just a little bit more. What we're trying to do is get 4 inches 72 there. And we're going to be close enough right there. It looks like 470, 480. You know, I mean, you're reading 5,000s on the lines there. You know, you got to give yourself. I'm close enough to figure my depth at 0 right now. So the first thing I do is set 0 on the depth. Alright, now we eyeball our cutter pretty much back to center and then look down here, set our 0 to there. Alright, we're 100% 0 there. Now we want to go ahead and set up our dial indicator. So we got it. Another dashboard gauge here. Alright, now we're 0 there. This has an automatic feed reservoir, but I always like to flood it in there before I get going. It also helps draw it in. This is original kerning trekker, and I did have it at the same time I had the mill. I think it actually came with this particular mill. Some of my attachments came in a group of other parts shortly after I received this mill, because then I was really hunting for every accessory that possibly can go with it. And it's not so much the main machine that'll cost you anything. I actually paid $600 for this mill, but everything was knocked off the front of it. Remember that. And you watch my K&T videos 1 and 2, and you'll see how far I actually took the thing down to parade rest. Alright, I got my dashboard gauge here set. My gauges here are set. My height is set. Now, the last thing I do, because we're going to come down, cut, and then come back and start again in the same spot, but just go side to side. I need to know where we start with the table, so I'm going to set that 0 here as well. And I'll set that 0 when I know where that 0 is going to be. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to feed it back this way until I feel that I'm not cutting anymore. I was real close to that edge, but we were still not directly over that beginning of that edge until I stopped feeling the cut. That's kind of why I do it that way. Now I know that I'm at the edge of the material. That's where I want my straight down depth to start at. Alright, so now we're going to set 0. And I set my 0 with all the backlash out of here as well. And I'm going to be cranking this table that way to bring it back, and that's the direction I'm going to lock the backlash at the 0. So once I actually get to that 0 and then I'm starting, I'll be pulling it back, and this has got 50 thousandths play in the lead screw here as well. Okay, we're going 236 thousandths in depth to 230, 238, somewhere around in there. Alright, we're going to get some flood cooling on here. I'm just marking my 50 on the dial, because 50's one way, 0's the other way. They both match. When you got backlash going and you're in that spot where you're touching both of them, you know you're in the correct spot. Okay. Here we go. Kind of curious to see how it's cut because I resharpened the front nose there. Okay, there's a 1/8 of an inch. There's 200,000. Okay, there's 225. 235. There we go. Okay, now I'm watching it coming up here next to the lap finish. And actually you can take a little bit of air and just lightly push it and you can get it to blow back the coolant to where you can see where it's actually cutting at, so you don't overstep it. All we need to do is come up kind of right to that line there. We're going to be doing spoon keyways, so we're going to be working a little area past our cut as well as into the valley there. So about 1/8 of an inch past that lap will be good. that. And we're going to look at our dial. Okay, now I can't believe it because I wasn't over here to look at it. Now I'm going to engage it and find out where our backlash is. Okay, we're going to leave that. We're lining up with the other end at 0, and that's where we started at. Well, give or take a thou or two on the dial there. Okay, I'm not going to snivel, and I'm not going to bother making it a double mark or anything else. It is fading a little bit on our 0 there. We haven't marked it in a couple days, but our other backlash was that 50 right there. All right, so I'm going to show you how we come back and set 0 again and sidestep our key. Okay, the first thing I want to do is clean out the groove. I just don't want to rub a chip in there. We're sticking out here a little bit. We can go ahead and take our depth mic. And we have that. We have a burr here. We're going to have to knock that off with our file. This is just our junk file here. Inches 40. We still have a raised area, and remember that's at the 7/16 width right there. I'm only down to the 12 millimeter width down here, which is going to lower it down a little bit, but there's not enough of that flat to reach it. So I'd say we're deep enough, and I think by the time we widen it out and we have that set, I think we're going to be real close to that 230, 236.2 is our minimum, to 240 to have like 5 over, 4 over. All right. Now I'm going to hand crank it back to our 0. It should touch when I get close, right there. Okay, there's our 50. And our 0 on our dial. I'm going to hold it there. You just never want to suck it in there, so I'm always making sure I hold it there. I have my brake set here. Alright, so we're free, so we know we're at a good 0 right there. Okay. Now looking at my dial and looking at here, we're going to shift it 17 thousandths back and forth. It's actually 17 and 4/10, but I'm not going to worry about the 4/10. I'd rather have a tight key. Alright? So, I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feed it that direction first. I'm holding pressure here so I make sure that it doesn't suck it in. And I'm going to go ahead and hand crank the 17 thousandths in here. A little at a time. Alright, there's 16. Alright, there's 17 right there. We make sure we're tight on the lock there. Coolant's flowing. We start moving. Okay, now it's got it. Now we're just going to follow up till we get to our other end of our cut there. Alright, I'll bring you back in when we've done both sides of this key and show you the finished results there. Alright, we came all the way back after that, and we're getting ready. Now we're going to go the opposite direction here, and we're pulling it back past our 0, and we're going to be taking our 16. Okay, there's a 17. And here we go. Our second passes we sped up to 1 inch per foot, just because you know, we're not pulling a big load there, and we can get down the track a lot faster. Okay, I went and got my Frankfurt Arsenal. Actually, they put out the best small digital vernier calipers that I've seen. And I wish I bought a couple pairs of these, and I actually gave a couple away, and I only have one left. And I tell you what, I've looked on the website there again, and I haven't found them in a while. But if I find this same manufacturer, maybe not with this label or anything else on it, but find the same manufacturer, I will buy a dozen of these things. But anyway, I'm going to come in here, and I'm getting 11.99, 11.92, flashing to 12 millimeters. I mean, there's 9.7, 9.5. Soon I let go that, you know, it comes down a little bit, you know, pulling it in and out of here. 11.98. We are right on the money. Okay, now it's alright, and there's our 472.5. Alright, I'm happy with this keyway. Alright, we got 3 more keys to go. And then we can get over there in the Bridgeport and start drilling a cotter pin hole and shaping out and making our keys will be the process after that. And then getting in the lathe, doing the fit and face and the final lap fits for our tapers. I almost forgot, I brought this down to go ahead and take and get rid of it. I mean, turn it around. And I was checking out the feel of the burr on here, and I go, oh, hey, we didn't finish knocking that down and checking our depth. So I went ahead and did a quick file on here, and I brought the camera over so we could do this. And all right, 238. All right, we wanted 237 up to 240. And I mean, you know, I could have filed 1,000 or so. I mean, it's still, that's going to be radius on both sides. So we're right there with our depth and our calculation by taking and locating center, and then locating the width that we need to create 0 for our depth, and then crank that in and end up with within a couple thousandths of what we're shooting for. That's the name of the game. Okay, our next step on the shafting here is we're going to spoon a keyway. The spoon or spoon shape is actually how it got its name, and what we're going to do is actually grind and remove material so that we have a surface that this side of the key rolls out like this and then around in this area, given all the area around the last or the major contact of the bore a stress-free edge to that opening, which would be the first place that a crack would start. And I gotta hunt up my Sharpie here. Okay, I hung up the Sharpie, and usually you're rolling this back a little bit here, and then you're coming out. You don't need to come way out here, just a little bit there, and then you want to, it's going to sort of roll back in, almost like a baby spoon, a little fatty, and it does help to draw this out so that you can kind of guide or follow some kind of a line there. Okay, now one of my favorite tools to use with this is my 3-inch pneumatic cutoff wheel or grinder, and I'm going to go grab that and we're going to start whittling away on this. But I just wanted to get you to actually see the shape looking down that we're actually going to be grinding. And then as I grab that wheel, you're going to watch me roll from vertical, vertical into an area where we can create sort of a spoon shape, and then the outside lip is almost like the spoon upside down. It's going to roll over this way here, so we're rid of all that sharp edge. Alright, we got our little grinder here, and this is another reason why I like this tilt back and this guard. If you see me, I get to control this guard a lot with my fingers here. And I like wearing the gloves because sometimes the sparks are really hot against the back of the hand there and flying up. And by me having my hand over this back exit here, I can kind of keep everything from shooting up in my face. So a lot of the stuff just like goes on down towards the ground. Especially, I got this shaft up here comfortably so that I can work and I can roll it. And I'll probably work this side here, and then I'll come around and work kind of on the other side, doing one side at a time. But being on the side that I'm working, it kind of just tends to work the wheel a lot better. And I can come in and like this. Alright? I'm going to bring you in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, rolling this out and then around this way here. Alright, now I'm going to come around on this side and do the same thing. Okay, now you get a pretty equal like this. Now I'm going to go get one of my porting tools, and I like to really roll right into the keyway, kind of like roll these around. And the porting tools really work good on there. And then after that, then I go in and I'll bring in this grinder, and we'll add in the Scotch-Brite pads, and we're gonna roll this edge all the way down here. I personally do not think that spooning the key is beneficial any more so than rolling and prepping your entire keyway, but it is still the preferred feature that some people really prefer on their shafting, and that's this customer wants a spoon keyway, and that's why I'm putting them in here. Other than that, I normally just roll the keyway all the way, and that breaks the stress relief all the way along the whole keyway up at the top plus the full length, just in case there's a miscontact anywhere, the prop gets loose and one area is tight. The crack is going to start wherever the tightest contact is on the shaft propeller bore combination against that key. That's where the crack will start. If this is fit right and it gets loose, most of the time the key or the crack starts up here, and that's why the spooning of the key has been proven to eliminate that area more so than not. If you're over horsepower, you'll still split a shaft anywhere. But if you're in the safety factors and everything else, and you have a tight wheel, you don't have anything to worry about. But if it does get loose on you, these are safety or precautions that you can do to better the chance that you don't start a crack on your shaft. All right, next we're going to move to port polishing kind of tooling. It's like this, and I happen to have one that's actually, it's already kind of, I think it's worn off on the end, but I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot before I actually pull it off and put one of the new ones on there. I want to give it a test, and actually when it gets up close to the mandrel, it is a little firmer and so on. So let's give this a go here. it really lets you rock and roll right into that radius right there and really ferre that out. You want to ferre that in so it's all smooth. What you're doing with all these other little tools and everything else is bringing the polish or the smoothness to your surface, to at least near or close to the ground surface that your material is, and any of your other work that's involved on your shafting. You want to make sure that you're smooth. You don't want to leave that rough grind. All right, this is getting a little worn. Let's take one of these new ones on here. And the first thing I'm going to do is try to hit some of this open area where it's easy to do it with it long. And you see I'm kind of working this top area right here, just kind of like rolling it out of there. Okay. Okay, I'm real happy with that. Now we're going to go ahead and switch out to one of our discs with the Scotch-Brite on there, and we're gonna roll this whole edge all the way down in here, and then we're going to be blending this in. Then we're going to be doing, when this goes back in the lathe, we're going to be doing a straight polish, which will polish off this surface right in here. And then when we re-lap or do the final lap fit on these tapers, okay, we'll be blending in all the rest of, this is where we just rubbed it. All we did was rub that fuzzy or satin finish from the lap. Okay, we didn't really dig into the shaft there at that point. And you'll see that when we go to lap them, and they'll be nice and clean and lap. You'll see a little bit of a gloss around where I radius it over, so that you'll see that the contact surface of the shaft is not going to be so razor sharp at the keyway line. And that's where you stop the majority of cracks at their starting or originating points of contact when a wheel gets loose. And that is the only way shafts break, unless it's over horsepower, then they can break anywhere. But the standard shafting that breaks is all due because the taper has lost its fit, and the prop or the coupling on the taper becomes loose, and it slams the key and cracks the shaft. Okay, now we have, this is just I think it's 60 grit. And we're just going to be breaking this edge right here. And we do it a little bit on the side here. We kiss this little corner off here. A little bit off here. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this edge of these threads right on down. So they're sharp, and you don't want those caught in your hand. So I'm going to take the hard grinder first and knock those down. Okay, the reason why I do that is the very first time I've ever had somebody come and help me carry a shaft, and they grabbed the end of the shaft that was left full sweep of the key coming out to those points, and those points were never addressed, and they cut into his hand, and they're pretty nasty cut. So I come up with, I mean, this is actually, it's not material that's beneficial, and also it's an area that can get dinged real easy, roll over, and then make a bad fit for your thread. So I just decided to go ahead and start finish them off like this, and then nobody ever has or gets a cut because of an unfinished off sharp edge. All right, now I put in the Scotch-Brite, and I like this this grade of Scotch-Brite. Really works out well, holds up good. Alright, now we go ahead and we take one side of this keyway at one time, and we're going to work it like this, okay? Okay, and this is why I say rolling this edge, and this radius, actually, Western Branch actually calls this radius right here half of the SAE radius that's down at the bottom of your keyway. Alright, there is supposed to be a radius up here. Most of the time, most manufacturers of shafting comes out of the CNC machine, and this is sharp edged on the top, and they let it fly. But they're in business of selling shafting, and why not sell you another one after this one? Alright, now we're going to do the same on this side. I like using my bare fingers to feel, and that's kind of my keyway, is my finger itself. Okay, now I can get right in here, the nitty gritty, and this is where I really polished that transition right in there.